Welcome back, Sports Nation and my champions. This video will be a matchup breakdown and preview for Super Bowl 55, or as Raider Nation would call it, pick your poison. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m. Pacific. It'll be played in Raymond James Stadium, and this is the first time a Super Bowl team has played in their home stadium. The key thing here is the weather. It's going to be 68, mostly cloudy, but there will be some thunderstorms earlier in the day before game starts, which may or may not affect some of the field footing. The Chiefs come in with the number one ranked offense, led by their passing attack, middle of the road on defense, and their road to the Super Bowl started at home against the Cleveland Browns, where they built up a modest 19-3 lead. And then we know Mahomes got hurt about midway through the third quarter with a neck concussion. A neck injury. And Chad Henne came in relief and played admirably. The Browns did intercept him in the end zone, but couldn't move the ball. They punted the ball away with about 4 minutes left, thinking that they could get the ball and maybe go for a winning score, but they never got the ball back. And then they moved on to Buffalo. Mahomes came back, had a huge game, 325 and 3 touchdowns. The usual suspects, Tyreek Hill with 172, Travis Kelce with 118 and 2 scores. The Bills got up slightly early, 9-0 in the game, with a Nicole Hardman fumble deep in their territory, which the Bills converted into a touchdown, missed the extra point. And then after that, it was pretty much all KC. They ran up 21 unanswered points after that. And then basically the Bills traded field goals with touchdowns with the Chiefs, and they never were really in it. They did come back and score 9 points kind of late in the game to make it relatively reasonable, but at that point they weren't even close. The Bucs come in with the number 2 pass offense, 7th overall, and 6th ranked defense, and their road to the Super Bowl was quite a bit different than the Chiefs. They were the 5th seed and had to play 3 games all on the road, starting in Washington, where they developed an early lead and kind of held off Washington comeback led by their backup quarterback Taylor Hinkie and his legs basically. Brady did have 381 and 2 touchdowns against the number 2 ranked pass defense. That's something of note right there. Then they moved on to New Orleans in the Superdome, and it was a pretty even game, kind of a back and forth game until the fourth quarter, where the Tampa Bay defense really stepped up, and second-year linebacker Devin White had a key interception late in the game to help seal that one. Uh, the Saints kind of fell apart there in the second half. 3 of their last 4 drives resulting in turnovers. So they pulled away with a 10-point lead on that one. And then in the NFC Championship game, they went to Lambeau and played the Green Bay Packers. Tampa did have an early 28-10 lead early in the third quarter. And then Aaron Rodgers started his comeback, had a couple touchdowns. But one of the things that were criticized by the Packers was late in the game, they decided to go for 3 points on 4th down and 8 instead of going for it on 4th down to get the touchdown and possibly 2-point conversion to tie the game. They ended up being conservative, kicking the field goal, being down by 5, and kicking away with a little over 2 minutes left, and they never got the ball back. Tom Brady went 280 with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in this game, and really helped, in my opinion, really helped Green Bay to help even come back in this game. They did meet in Week 12 this season in Tampa, where the Chiefs held on and won 27-24 after leading 27-10 at the end of the third quarter. And then Tampa Bay came back, scored a couple touchdowns, but fell a little bit short. Tom Brady had 345, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in the game. Gronk had 106. And this is the game where Mahomes had 462 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then Tyreek Hill went insane with 269 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. So this might be indicative of what we might see tomorrow. Now we're going to go over what I expect to see as far as game planning from both teams and a couple of sleepers. I think the first thing that the Chiefs are going to want to do is adjust and find the weapons that are open and available. I'll talk about what I think the Bucs are going to do on the defensive side to slow down this Chiefs offense. But Andy Reid is very good at making adjustments, and so is Mahomes finding the open player. So I think this is a big one for them as far as the offensive side, maintaining that continuity. The second one is rattle Tom Brady. Uh, he's not the most mobile quarterback, obviously, and so you can't just let him sit there and pick you apart. Even if he has to move and adjust and roll out, all the better. Uh, you can't just let him sit there. He'll destroy you, obviously. And then the third one, which might be the most important one of all for this game, as far as who's going to win this game, is they're going to have to compensate for their losses, especially at the offensive tackle position. Their left tackle, Eric Fisher, tore his Achilles. He's gone. And then the right tackle, their starter, Mitchell Schwartz, has been on the short-term IR with a back injury. Coach Reid said this week he's not very optimistic about him coming back and playing in this game. Obviously, it's a Super Bowl, so anybody with that could play will obviously want to play in this game. So him saying that is concerning on both edges. Now, I think I'd be more concerned if it was on the other side with Brady because he's not as mobile as Mahomes, but still they're going to have to come up with some schemes. I think maybe chipping with the running backs, tight ends, maybe more rollout plays one way or the other so they can have a better pocket. Because the Bucs defense, they can thrive at the pass rush, especially on the outside with Shaq Barrett. I would say if you're looking for a sleeper, if you're playing DFS or doing some prop betting, I would go with Nicole Hardman. Obviously, we talked about him fumbling in that game early on in the Buffalo, the AFC Championship game, and redeeming himself. Not only that, I think the Bucs are going to obviously have to focus on Tyreek Hill. They're not going to want to have him have another big game like they did in their last head-to-head matchup. And obviously Travis Kelce. And then Sammy Watkins here, he has a calf injury, but he will play, but I think he's going to be limited. So I think this opens the door for Nicole Hardman here to have a good game here. So I would consider him a good sleeper. As far as the Buccaneers game plan, obviously we just talked about that. They got to minimize Tyreek Hill. And I say minimize. I don't think you're going to be able to stop him. He's just too good, but you can't let him have 269 yards receiving either. So I think that, to me, you can't let him get behind you. You can't let him get any big plays. Keep everything close to you. The second thing I think they want to do, obviously, we just talked about this side of the matchup here, is exploit those offensive tackles, get more pressure on the outside, flush him out, flush Mahomes out, or better yet, try to make him try to run up the middle with Ndamukong Suh there to greet him. And then the third one is obviously, other than the head-to-head game, they probably looked at the two Raider games as far as studying tape goes and trying to find the blueprint as far as the Raiders' success. Remember, Raiders split with them, and the second game they lost at the very end, and they let Kelce go wide open for a touchdown, sitting in the end zone all by himself. So the Raiders played them both games hard. And from what I saw from that game, I think two things kind of stood out for me, big picture wise. One is the time of possession. In the Tampa head game with the Chiefs, they only had the ball 23 minutes. For the two Raider games, they had 28 minutes in the win and 35 in the loss. And the other thing is, try not to let them succeed on third down. Let the Chiefs succeed. The Raiders held them 6 of 14 on third down conversions in the first game, 5 of 9 in the second, and they had the Chiefs punt 5 times in that first game. Get them off the field, keep the time of possession. I think that's the key for them as far as the Bucs are concerned, to kind of try to slow down this juggernaut of an offense. I think if you're looking at a sleeper on the Bucs side, I'm gonna have to go with Devin White. I mean, the guy's been a beast. He had 12 tackles in the first game against Washington. He had that key interception on Breeze in the divisional round. He's been on fire. It's his second year. I still think we should have drafted him instead of Cleve Farrell, but that's neither here nor there. I think he could be a key. You've got Shaq Barrett coming in on the outside. You got Ndamukong Suh rushing in the middle. This leaves him to be another option to rush, make some plays. Good skilled guy overall. I think even if the Bucs win and he like comes up with a big play, they'll probably still give the MVP to Brady, obviously, but I think he could be a key for Tampa to win this game. I'm expecting a very competitive and entertaining game tomorrow, but I would give the slight edge to Tampa. I think they're the more well-rounded team. However, with Patrick Mahomes, you can never really count him out. He can win a game for you single-handedly. He's so talented. If you enjoyed this review and breakdown, give it a thumbs up. Give me your comments below on what you think about it and the game. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel.